Rosalind was just 23 when she fell for Jerome. He was handsome, charming, and promised her a fairy tale life. She believed him, even when the first red flags started to wave. The biggest one? His constant, lingering connection with his ex, Veronica, the mother of his son. Whenever Rosalind questioned it, he'd just say, "She's my past. You're my future." Rosalind swallowed those words, hoping they were true. But the real poison came later. For 6 long years, they tried to have a baby, and every month that passed without a positive test, the blame fell squarely on her. "My boy is strong, so what's wrong with you?" he'd sneer. That question became the cruel soundtrack to her life. She was forced to endure endless, painful, and humiliating medical tests, always alone. And every single time, the results were the same. She was perfectly healthy. Jerome refused to believe it. He'd get angry, insisting his son was proof that the problem had to be her. His words were a constant emotional torture, made worse by his petty digs about her body and his smug reminders of how lucky she was that he married a woman who could give him children. Then came the ultimate betrayal. Jerome came to her, claiming his business was in trouble. He needed money, and he knew she had a nest egg $12,000 she had meticulously saved for her future. He asked her to invest it in a dry cleaning business he was starting with a friend. He promised that once the financial stress was gone, they could finally focus on their family. Desperate for his love, desperate to fix their broken marriage, she emptied her bank account. For some reason she couldn't explain, she recorded his promises on her phone. A small act of self-preservation she would later be profoundly grateful for. Within 6 months, the business was thriving. But Jerome's success only made him more disdainful. The late nights started, the expensive clothes appeared, and his phone buzzed constantly with texts from Veronica. The final shattering blow came on a Thursday. Rosalind walked into her own home to find Jerome and Veronica laughing on her couch. She overheard him boasting, "That woman's so desperate for me to love her, she'd probably give me her kidneys if I asked, nice enough." In that instant, she understood. She wasn't his wife. She was a bank account with legs. 3 days later, he tossed divorce papers onto the kitchen table. When she asked about her $12,000, his response was chilling. "That was a gift." He shrugged. "You can't take back a gift." At 29, Rosalind was homeless, penniless, and hollowed out. She packed her meager belongings and drove back to Chicago to live with her ailing mother. The city felt gray, and her future felt even bleaker. She spent her days helping her mom and staring at the old, defunct family restaurant, a monument to better times. It was there she met Roberts. He was a photographer, hired to document the neighborhood's revitalization. He was kind, with gentle eyes, and he saw her sitting alone on the back porch, lost in her pain. He didn't push or pry. He just sat with her, day after day, offering quiet companionship. He was the first person who truly listened to her story. And when she finished, he wasn't disappointed in her, he was angry for her. "He's the fool," Roberts said, his voice firm. The fool who couldn't see what he had. Fueled by Roberts' quiet support and her mother's simple faith, a spark reignited in Rosalind. She enrolled in therapy. She started looking at the old family restaurant not as a relic, but as an opportunity. A new idea formed: Nourish, a healthy grab-and-go meal prep service. For 2 long years, she worked double shifts, saving every penny. She learned to paint and lay tile herself, pouring her sweat and tears into the old building. And through it all, Roberts was there, documenting every step of her transformation with his camera, patiently waiting. "I'll be here when you're ready," he'd promise, and she knew he meant it. 2.5 years after returning to Chicago completely broken, Nourish opened its doors. It started slow, but her grit and the honest, healthy food she created began to win people over. It became a local favorite. The woman who had felt so empty was now confident, whole, and finally ready to accept the gentle, unwavering love Roberts had been offering all along. They had a simple, real wedding at the courthouse. And 6 months later, 2 miracles happened. First, Roberts convinced her to post the videos he'd taken of her journey. They went viral overnight, transforming Nourish from a local spot into a nationwide brand. The second miracle was even more profound. Rosalind, the woman Jerome had deemed barren, took a pregnancy test. It was positive. Then she took another, and another, all positive. At her 8-week checkup, the doctor confirmed it. She was carrying not 1, not 2, but 3 healthy heartbeats. Triplets. It felt like a magnificent cosmic laugh at the man who had blamed her for so many years. 2 years later, life was a beautiful dream. Her business was booming, her mother was healthy, and her 3 perfect daughters, Zoe, Zara, and Zuri, were her world. One day, her mom casually mentioned that she'd heard Jerome was getting married again. His life, she'd heard, had been a struggle since Veronica left him and his business failed. In that moment, Rosalind knew. The quiet, protected life she had built needed one final, powerful statement. On the day of Jerome's grand wedding, Rosalind arrived. She was elegantly dressed, radiating a success that was entirely her own. Beside her was Roberts, and in front of them, she calmly pushed a luxurious stroller carrying her 3 beautiful, thriving little girls. As they entered, Jerome's best man sputtered, his eyes wide. Wait, isn't that your poor ex-wife? I thought she was barren. How did she have triplets? A heavy silence fell over the entire ceremony. Every guest turned to look. That silence was Rosalind's perfect revenge. It was a definitive, unspoken declaration. The woman he had tried to destroy had used his betrayal as the foundation to build a life infinitely richer than he could ever imagine. Her heart wasn't just healed, it was so full it had brought forth 3 miracles at once. All thanks to a partner who had the integrity to see her true worth from the very beginning. Thanks for watching.